Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today in the mainstream media, we're getting big focus on this weather system moving into the East Coast that might bring historic snowfall. It's yet to be seen if it will happen. However, I've noticed some curious things in researching about it. Notice this headline right here, Truth Seeker, where it says the Great Blizzard of 1947. This storm that's happening right now is said to be the worst since 47 if it hits. It'll probably be the worst since 47, possibly worse. Well, look at the day of this reporting, November 18th. November 18th is the 322nd day of the year, 322 like Yale Skull and Bones. On my blog, I documented how on March 22nd in 2007, another way of writing 322, it foreshadowed what would happen at Fukushima. There was an article written on March 22nd, 2007 about the damage coming to Fukushima. And it seems that throughout history, they like to foreshadow things on this date. They'll give us a headline about something they're going to do in the future. And perhaps this storm that we're seeing right now is, a work of science fiction, but in reality. For those of you who aren't aware, there's technology theorized to impact the weather. And there's these facilities in Alaska and in other parts of the world known as HAARP, HAARP, which has a gematria of 44 like kill, that supposedly shoots something called extremely low frequency waves into the ionosphere, manipulating the weather and even possibly bouncing back to Earth and causing things such as earthquakes. I personally don't know whether this stuff is true or not, but I am watching with a curious eye and an open mind and trying to pay attention to what's going on. And just from reading these headlines, there's another curiosity I noticed. Notice that from 47, this storm happened in December of 47, so 67 years and a month ago. From reading this reporting, the storm in 47 was the worst since the year 1880, another span of 67 years. So it went from 67 years, 1880 to 1947, to 67 years and a month from the 47 storm to this one that's being proposed. Words such as water equals 67, organic equals 67, alchemy equals 67, soul equals 67. This is an important number. 67 plus 33 equals 100. These numbers share a relationship, and here we're finding them in the spacing of the storms, which is not unique to this storm situation. When you look through history, you find eerie spacing between similar events. So let's look through some past. Actually, let's also acknowledge that this storm is being called Colbie after the celebrity. I might have pronounced her name wrong, but this is CC initials like 33. C is the third letter. From reading the reporting, the initial meteorologist who was putting out all the details, and it seemed like all the networks were using him, was named Mike Cameron. Cameron's a 33 name. He's also Michael. Michael's a 33 name. Mike Cameron. And this is the second storm they've named after a pop star. The word pop equals 47. And they're calling it a historic storm. I don't know if you noticed on the last slide, I already closed it, but the word historic has a gematria of 47. And this would be the worst one since the year 47. CNN headlines talking about shutting down the city. Here's one of these curiosities. This isn't great evidence, but it's interesting. One of the worst blizzards in the history of New York, in the region, occurred on the date 3/11, March 11th. And it went through March 14th, 314. 3.14 is the number for pi. That's why March 14th is known as Pi Day, about cycles and circles. This could entirely be a coincidence, but what I do with this information is I just store it away in the knowledge bank. A curiosity. There's more curious things. To me, this is some of the best evidence of HAARP. In the history of the United States, the worst span of tornado outbreaks occurred on these dates. June 7th. Remember we were just talking about the 67-year span? Here's 6/7, June 7th, June 8th, and June 9th. The numerologies of these days are 31, 32, 33, like the ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. On these days, there were historic tornado outbreaks throughout the country. And if you go back and look at the reporting, the numerology of the reporting is very curious. More tornado outbreaks. Some of the worst tornado outbreaks, they also happen on very curious dates. April 3rd, 4/3, and April 4th. It's theorized by many Christian researchers that Jesus rose on April 3rd of the current calendar. You know, doesn't mean it's true, but that theory is out there. That's not a theory by me. That's just research anyone can uncover. It's just theory of April 3rd, and then he rose on April 6th. Interestingly enough, April 6th is the 96th day of the year. April 3rd is the 93rd. And we all know about 4/4 and April 4th. Also remember the gematria of this name, super outbreak, 55. I'm going to show you how that connects with another tornado story in Dallas. Let's see, let's jump to that one. So in Dallas, these historic dates, 55 years apart, both on Tuesdays, April 2nd, 1957. Historic tornadoes in Dallas like never before seen. They were slower moving, easily filmable. They say a lot of scientific advancement came out of the filming of these tornadoes. They were some of the first ever filmed tornadoes. 55 years later, on the same Tuesday, April 3rd, 2012, look at the dates again. We're just talking about these dates. It happened again 55 years later. There were fertilizer plant explosions in Dallas 66 years apart, both on the same day of the week. 55 years, 66 years, multiples of 11. We talk about these numbers a lot. Islands emerged in the ocean on similar dates, 50 years apart. Just news I was documenting at the time. I just thought, wow, how can this be? Are they just making this stuff up? Are they telling us this just rose out of the ocean? Is it all part of the big joke upon us? Hurricane Ivan and Katrina, Truth Seeker. At the time, Ivan, I's the 9th letter. Katrina, K's the 11th letter. Ivan and Katrina formed on the same day, 7 years apart, made landfall on the same day, 7 years apart. And just think about it, Ivan and Katrina. These were the two worst hurricanes in history, 9 and 11. You know, Truth Seeker, there's just so much of this. And, either Mother Nature works on these patterns and follows this numerology, or something really bizarre is going on. Another weird act of Mother Nature is the earthquake at the World Series in the year 89. It happened just as Jose Canseco was showing crossing home plate in a preview from the night before on national television. Jose Canseco wore the number 33. Right as he crossed the plate, the earthquake began. It was like on cue. This whole event is just full of all curious numerology, including the name of the fault line, which yields 33 and 47. And I've already done videos on this. I'm just touching on it with this post. Check out this movie about twisters. It runs 113 minutes. Director names, everything. The numerology of the word tornado or twister. It's just creepy, Truth Seeker. Wouldn't it be something to find out that tornadoes are really an act of modern man? We've been growing up thinking it's Mother Nature all this time, but really it's just mad scientists. You know, there's something going on here. Either Mother Nature really works on these numbers and patterns, or mad scientists have had more capable technology than we've known for longer than we care to believe. But something's up with all these storms, and it remains to be seen what will happen with this most current storm. Again, these are the current CNN headlines. They're making this a big deal. They're saying this is the furthest the city's ever gone to prepare for a storm, shutting down the mass transit systems for first time, unprecedented. It would be something to see that the storm never comes and then they make a big deal about being over-prepared. We'll just see how all this unfolds. Keep your eyes open, Truth Seeker. I just want to document the curiosities and the weather patterns. If you're someone who's closed yourself off to the idea that man could be impacting and strengthening weather storms, I don't think you want to close your mind off there. I think they very well might be doing it. And I'll continue to research and see if I can find more conclusive answers. All right. Until next time, Truth Seeker.